Once upon a time, in a small African village surrounded by vast fields and ancient trees, there was a boy named Toby. Toby was not like any other child in the village. He was born after 14 whole months, unlike other babies who came after 9. This unusual birth made everyone in the village talk. Some said he was special. Others thought it was strange and a bit unsettling. The night Toby was born, the sky was filled with bright, twinkling stars. The villagers noticed that the stars seemed to form a unique pattern, resembling a protective shield, which made the elders murmur about omens of greatness. But this joyous night also brought sorrow, as Toby's mother passed away shortly after giving birth. So Toby's father, Aid, a kind and hard-working farmer, had to care for him all by himself. Aid was both mother and father to Toby, and he loved him more than anything in the world. Aid often took Toby to the farm with him. He'd lay the baby under a big shady tree while he worked in the fields. Toby loved watching the leaves dance in the wind and listening to the birds sing. Aid would hum soft tunes from his childhood, hoping to soothe the baby while working. But one day, something very strange happened. Toby, only 7 months old, suddenly started crying very loudly. It wasn't a normal cry. It was so loud and unusual that it made Ad rush to him, worried. Just as Aid picked Toby up, the big tree he was lying under fell with a tremendous crash, right where Toby had been as crash, right where Toby had been. Everyone in the village was shocked. They couldn't believe it. How did Toby know? They whispered, "Is he magic?" From that day, Toby became known for being different. He would laugh in the middle of the night as if he were playing with invisible friends. And sometimes he'd cry loudly as if he was scared or upset by something no one else could see. A few brave children claimed to have seen shadows moving near him when he laughed, but no one could confirm it. As Toby grew older, he started saying things that would come true. He would tell Aid it's going to rain today, and even if the sky was clear, it would rain. But then he started saying things that frightened the villagers. One time he said, "I'm sad because tomorrow we will lose someone." And the very next day, one of his friends in the village became very sick and passed away. People in the village began to avoid Toby. They were scared of his predictions. They whispered, "Is he a sorcerer? Why does he know these things?" Poor Toby felt lonely because he didn't understand why people were afraid of him. He was just a boy who somehow knew things that others didn't. He would spend hours gazing at the stars, wondering if they held the answers to his mysterious gift. This is how Toby's story began. A boy born under a starry sky, loved by his father, feared and wondered about by his village. A boy who was about to discover more about his mysterious gift and how it would change his life and the lives of those around him. In the village, Toby grew up as the boy everyone talked about. His predictions, which he didn't understand himself, made him both special and scary to the people around him. Aid always told him, "You are unique, my child," trying to make him feel better. Aid would tell him bedtime stories about heroes who overcame challenges, hoping to inspire Toby to embrace his gift. But Toby often felt lonely because the other children wouldn't play with him, and their parents would quickly call them away whenever he came near. One day, Toby made a prediction that really frightened everyone. He said, I see darkness coming over the chief's house, and it will bring much sadness. The villagers were scared because the chief was like the king of their village, a man everyone respected and loved. They whispered among themselves, "What does Toby's prediction mean? Is something bad going to happen?" Not long after Toby's words, something sad indeed happened in the chief's house. The chief's youngest daughter, who was always full of laughter and joy, suddenly fell ill and sadly passed away. This made the villagers very upset and afraid. They started saying, "Toby brings bad luck. His words are cursed." They didn't want to believe that Toby just somehow knew things before they happened. The villagers went to the chief and said, "We must do something about Toby. He's bringing bad omens to our village." The chief, a wise and kind man, was in a tough position. He knew Toby was just a child, but he also had to calm his people's fears. Ad was very worried. He loved his son and knew Toby was not to blame for the things he saw in his visions. He went to the chief and begged, "Please don't punish my son for something he can't control. He's not causing these bad things. He just knows they're going to happen." The chief decided to talk to Toby. He asked, "Why do you think you see these things before they happen?" Toby, with his innocent eyes, replied, "I don't know, chief. I just see them in my mind, like pictures in a dream." The chief, seeing his honesty and innocence, felt a deep sadness for him. He told the villagers, "We cannot blame Toby for the things he sees. He is just a child, a special child, and we should not fear him." But the villagers were still scared. They started avoiding Toby and his father. Toby felt very sad and kept to himself, spending most of his time in the fields with his father or under the big baobab tree, where he felt a strange sense of peace. Sometimes he would draw patterns in the dirt, recreating the starry patterns he saw in the sky. After this sad incident at the chief's house, the villagers were more afraid of Toby than ever. They whispered, "He's not safe to have around, and his words bring only bad news." Toby felt very sad and alone, but Aid was always there, telling him, "You have a gift, Toby. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it." The fear in the village grew so much that one day the villagers went to the chief and said, "We can't live with Toby's predictions anymore. He must leave our village." The chief, who had always been kind to Toby, was in a very hard place. He didn't want to send Toby away, but he also wanted to keep peace in the village. Adi pleaded with the chief, "Please don't send my son away. He's just a boy, and he means no harm." But the villagers were firm. They said, "If Toby stays, we will always be afraid. We must protect our village." The chief, with a heavy heart, decided that Toby should be sent away from the village. Toby was heartbroken. He cried, "Why do I have to leave? I never wanted my visions to hurt anyone." Ad held him, trying to be strong, but his eyes were full of tears. On the day Toby was to leave, he said, "I have one last thing to share, a secret that's not mine," but the villagers were curious. They thought, "What secret could Toby know?" So they gathered around, even though they were still scared. Toby took them to the chief's house, to a room that was always locked. The chief looked nervous, but Toby said, "The truth is in this room." With a key he had found in one of his visions, Toby unlocked the door. Inside, they found walls covered with names and events, all the bad things that had happened in the village. And there, in the chief's handwriting, were plans showing he had caused some of the troubles hoping to keep the villagers dependent on him while painting Toby and Aid in a bad light. It was revealed that the death of Toby's mother was the chief's doing. He had wanted to marry her, but she refused and married Aid instead. The villagers couldn't believe their eyes. They were shocked. "Our chief did this?" they asked. The chief had no words. He had been caught. Toby said, "I saw this in a vision. I knew I had to show everyone the truth." The villagers who had been so scared of him now saw him as a hero. They realized Toby's gift was special and that he had used it to save them from the chief's lies. Instead of sending Toby away, the villagers thanked him. They said, "We're sorry, Toby. You're a blessing, not a curse." Adi hugged him, proud and relieved. The chief was the one who had to leave the village, and Toby stayed loved and respected by everyone. From that day, Toby used his gift to help his village. He warned them about bad weather and helped them prepare for good harvests. The villagers would say, "Toby is our guardian angel. We're lucky to have him." Toby's story spread to nearby villages, and he became known as the boy who could see the future, a gift that brought him from being feared to being the most loved person in his village. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the life of Toby, a boy who turned fear into admiration with his unique gift. His story reminds us of the power of truth, courage, and the strength of a loving parent. If you enjoyed this tale, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more captivating stories like this one. Together, let's explore more lessons of life, hope, and resilience. See you in the next story.